Have you ever met someone and, I don't know, within just a few minutes, you feel this powerful, undeniable connection? It's like this instant chemistry where trust just seems to form out of thin air. Well, what if I told you it's not random, that it isn't magic, and it's definitely not some personality trait you're just born with? What if it's a predictable psychological process that you can actually learn to create whenever you want?
You see, the reason some people walk into a room and just instantly attract trust and opportunity, well, it isn't magic. It's a deliberate psychological cycle. The core idea that we're about to totally deconstruct here is that this magnetic quality, it's not an accident. It's an engineered outcome. It's a skill, not a gift. It's a system that you can execute, a repeatable loop that leverages some really deep-seated human psychology to build powerful bonds fast. And that's exactly our promise to you today. We're going to show you the 3-step loop that scientifically programs people to automatically like you. I'm going to give you the complete blueprint, the exact 3-step framework that basically hacks the social brain to create a powerful, positive, and automatic response in the people you meet. Now, this isn't about manipulation, not at all. It's about mastering the science of genuine connection. To do that, we've structured this whole thing like a masterclass. First, we'll start with the foundational mindset shift. That's the likability paradox. Then we'll diagnose the critical problem most of us face, the invisible barrier. From there, we'll get to the good stuff, the solution, the 3-step trust loop. We'll even unpack the neuroscience that makes it all tick. And finally, we'll give you a precise action protocol and boil it all down into one final lesson. Let's get into it. So, what's the single biggest mistake people make when they want to be liked? I mean, think about it for a second. A job interview, a first date, some networking event. What's our default strategy? It's all about us. We try to be interesting or impressive or competent. We talk about our accomplishments, our ideas, our experiences. And right there, that is the heart of the paradox. This flips all the conventional wisdom completely on its head. The common belief, you see it on the left, is that to be liked, you have to focus on proving your own worth. The goal is to be impressive. But the paradoxical truth, the secret that the most charismatic people really get, is that you achieve lasting likability by shifting your focus 180 degrees. Your new focus, on the right, is to strategically make the other person feel seen, heard, and valued. So your goal is no longer to be impressive, your goal is to become a source of validation for them. You know, when you make someone feel good about themselves, their brain automatically makes them feel good about you. That's the fundamental principle right there. Okay, but if the solution is that simple, right, just focus on the other person, then why do so many of us still struggle to connect? Well, it's because there's an invisible barrier at play. It's this psychological obstacle that sabotages our interactions before they even get a chance to get off the ground. Let's diagnose it. The scientific term for this barrier is impression management. And you know exactly what this is. It's that little voice in your head that's just constantly running a script. What do they think of me? Am I saying the right thing? Oh man, did that joke land? It's the state of deep self-consciousness where you're so busy producing and critiquing your own performance that you aren't truly present at all. You're in your head, not in the room with them. And here's the direct result of that internal focus. People can feel it. They can sense when you're not fully present with them. And this triggers a defense mechanism in their brain that we call social skepticism. Their psychological shields go up. They become more reserved, more guarded, and way less likely to open up. Because on some subconscious level, their brain has flagged you as someone who isn't genuinely and completely focused on them. So the crucial point here is this profound disconnect. While you're preoccupied with managing your impression, you are completely failing to meet the other person's most fundamental social need, that deep, universal human desire to be seen, to be understood, and to be validated. This disconnect is the #1 reason why conversations feel flat and connections just fizzle out. You're basically broadcasting on a frequency they're not even listening to. So how do we shatter this barrier? How do we bypass our own impression management and just dissolve their social skepticism? Well, we don't just try harder. We use a structured system designed to do exactly that. It's called the 3-step trust loop. This is the core engine of connection. It's a 3-phase cycle that once you kick it off, becomes self-reinforcing. It starts with a deliberate act of investment, and then it's powerfully accelerated by an act of vulnerability, and finally it gets locked in by reinforcement. Each step feeds directly into the next, creating this powerful upward spiral of trust and mutual affection. Okay, so step 1 is the trigger. It's the ignition for the entire loop. You have to make a conscious, deliberate investment of your attention in the other person.
And this is so much more than just waiting for your turn to talk. It's true active listening. This act is the validation cue. It's the signal that tells their brain, hey, this person sees me, it's safe to lower my guard. The key tactic here is what we call high-gain inquiry, asking questions that focus on their process, their feelings, their challenges, not just boring surface-level facts. So instead of asking, how was your day, you ask, what was the most interesting challenge you tackled today? See the difference? It signals real interest and respect.
Now, once you've laid that foundation of validation and they feel truly heard, you move to step 2. And this is where you just hit the accelerator on the trust-building process. Strategic vulnerability. It acts as the trust bridge. It's the mechanism that takes an interaction from, polite and pleasant to deep and connected. You're creating an opportunity for them to reciprocate the trust you've already shown them.
So how do we build this bridge safely and effectively? We do it through a tactic called calculated imperfection. Now, let me be super clear about this. This is not oversharing or trauma dumping. No way. It's a small, carefully chosen, low-risk disclosure of a minor flaw or a mistake. For example, after they talk about some complex project, you might say, wow, that's impressive. Honestly, I used to really struggle with public speaking, so I really admire how you handled that presentation. It does something incredibly powerful. It signals authenticity. It says, I'm not perfect and I trust you enough to show it. And this gives the other person psychological permission to lower their own shields and share something real in return.
Okay, so that's the what and the how, but why is this loop so potent? Why does it feel almost automatic? Let's shift from the tactical to the biological. The reason this system works isn't just because it's a nice way to behave, it's because it is hardwired into our fundamental brain chemistry.
The likability loop effectively hacks 3 really powerful psychological mechanisms. First, it harnesses the rule of reciprocity, that deep-seated human instinct to give back what we receive. You give them validation and vulnerability, they feel a powerful subconscious urge to return it with trust and affection. Second, it directly reduces activity in the amygdala, which is the brain's alarm system, its threat detection center. In other words, it makes the other person feel neurologically safe and comfortable with you. And third, it creates what psychologists call a positive affect memory, which basically wires their brain to associate you with a feeling of reward.
And this table right here, it illustrates that exact chemical cascade. This is so cool. Look at the first row. When you do step 1 and the other person receives genuine validation, their brain releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter of reward. They feel good, and their brain stamps that good feeling with your face on it. Then, row 2. When you execute step 2 and share a small calculated vulnerability, it calms their amygdala. It acts as a powerful safety signal, turning off their threat detector and allowing the more advanced, connection-oriented parts of their brain to fully engage. And finally, row 3, when they reciprocate and that loop is reinforced, both of your brains get a hit of oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This creates a real physiological sense of trust and connection.
Okay, understanding the science is one thing, but putting it into practice, that's what really matters. So let's make this incredibly practical. This is your immediate action protocol, what you can start doing the moment we're done here.
So, what's the first non-negotiable rule? Easy, the 80-20 listening investment. In any initial interaction where building a connection is your goal, you have to commit to listening for 80% of the time and speaking for only 20%. This simple ratio is a powerful forcing function. It forces you to get out of your own head and make that critical, validating investment in the other person. If you do nothing else, do this.
And during that 80% of listening time, you're going to deploy high-gain inquiry. A standard question like, how was the project? It just invites a one-word answer. It's a closed loop, a dead end. But asking, what was the most challenging part of that project for you? That invites a story. It asks for reflection. It focuses on process and feeling. Same thing for travel. Don't just ask if it was good. Ask what was unexpected or what surprised them. These questions are designed to pull out emotion and experience, and those are the raw materials of real connection.
So here's your protocol, boiled down to 3 simple parts. 1, execute the 80-20 listening investment, using those high-gain questions to go deep. 2, after they feel heard and understood, immediately build the calculated imperfection bridge with a small, low-stakes disclosure of your own. And 3, observe their positive reaction. Seriously, just watch them open up. This reinforces the pattern for you and it solidifies the positive loop for them.
We've covered the paradox, the invisible barrier, the system itself, the science that powers it, and the protocol to implement it. So let's just distill all of this down to the single most important lesson. If you walk away with one thing, this is it. Here it is. Likability is not a trait you possess. It is an output of the emotional value you provide to others. It's not about who you are. It's not something you either have or you don't. It is an output. It's the direct result, the emotional receipt for the value you provide, that feeling of being seen, validated, and safe. Your entire focus should shift from trying to prove your value to consistently providing it to others. So let's just recap what mastering this system really does for you. The Likability Loop, it solves the problem of social defensiveness and weak connection. And why that matters is that it provides a systematic way to gain automatic trust and affection. This framework of validation and strategic vulnerability works because it directly activates the brain's bonding circuitry, and most importantly, it creates a durable positive affect memory. It literally wires people's brains to be genuinely glad to see you, to trust you, and to want to connect with you. You know, knowledge without action is just entertainment. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow, in just one conversation, consciously apply this protocol. Commit to an 80-20 listening split, and at the right moment, offer one small calculated imperfection. Just try it once, and then observe the results. Because in the end, mastering your social world follows the exact same principle as mastering any other part of your life. Productivity isn't about doing more. It's about mastering systems that make focus effortless.